Warning, the following program contains adult language, adult themes, and spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of This Week's Episode. This is episode 256, I'm pretty sure, and it's for the week of September 7th, 2022. I'm your host, Evan Goldstein, and with me as always is our very own Jedi Master, Chris Randazzo.
Hello there.
The home run slugger, Karen Randazzo.
Lay off the high ones.
And the toughest nails drill sergeant, Angie Fernot. I know it's been a while, but let me remind you, we here at this week's episode, we talk television. Do
you remember that?
Types of things and shows and whatnot. But before we get into talking about that actual stuff, let me remind you that you can get in touch with us at mail@geekade.com. Suggest something for us to watch. Just chime in, let us know what you are thinking about when we are talking about the things we are watching. Doesn't necessarily have to be about television. Just let us know you're out there. I don't want to...
Because we're out there.
I mean, we're here, and I'm kind of scared to ask this, but guys, it's been like 14 months. How have you been?
June 23rd, 2022 was to episode 255.
So it's 2
and
months.
You know what? Just like my other podcasts, we intentionally took the summer off.
That's
Yeah,
totally
we
what
did.
Definitely
happened.
how we did that. Yep.
Yep. 100% planned. Summer hiatus. It's like we're starting, it's like, let's call this season 2.
Yes.
256 episodes in. Season 1 was 255 episodes.
Never too
Now
late
we're
to
on
start season 2.
We decided to take summer vacation without telling anybody. We just bounced. We left the kids at home.
They're fine.
It's the best
Got
way to
blocks.
vacation.
Yeah.
Did you miss us, dear listener?
No, you were
So
right the first time.
it's been 2 months, a little over 2 months. As of like 3 days ago, we've done some behind the scenes Geek Aid revamping. I want to get this out of the way because this is like the business end of stuff.
You really want to get your business
Yeah, I
end
want to
out
get
of
the
the
business
way.
out of the way.
I mean, listen, if Evan knows anything, it's about the business end of stuff, you know?
I get the stinky end of every fucking
Stick in the business end, all in our business.
He's all about the business.
So some of you who pay attention to our commercials or our intros or whatnot, you may be familiar with the fact that we actually have a Patreon.
Do we?
We do.
Which we do now.
We do.
Hey, there we go.
We did before, but now we really do.
Now we're actually paying attention to it. I wish I could remember off the top of my head the 2 patrons we've had for the entirety of this time. God bless them for just donating for the sake of being.
That was Matt Flamcher and Duroc Pig.
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
We don't deserve you. Thank you.
As the commercial that was promoted on SAG. Can someone say, I will remember.
Here we go.
Listening to podcasts is free. Making them, hosting them, putting them up on the internet is not. So we're concentrating on our Patreon to hopefully try to offset some of those costs. Dan went on this very interesting diatribe about Manscaped, which I will not do. He's got issues. But we're gonna add in some tiers and try to make it worth paying attention to our Patreon.
Add in some tears. I imagine lots of crying
And whatnot.
I do that anyway.
To clarify,
go ahead.
Go ahead. What are you clarifying?
Okay. I was going to say, to clarify, things have already happened. The Patreon is revamped.
Yes.
And
It is up and running.
It is.
I rewrote our welcome message. I rewrote our special message that we get from new people signing up. I deleted all of the dead links to videos that Dean created over the last couple of years that existed and don't exist anymore. And most importantly, we have 2 new tiers with actual rewards, not the totally nebulous just thanks for hooking us up rewards. We made them cheap. We made them as cheap as Patreon would allow us to because, obviously the idea is to continue to create free content. We're not trying to make bank here. Exactly. We're not trying to make bank. We're just trying to make back what we're making. And
bank would be awesome. People, if someone wants to give bank, we will take bank.
Okay.
That is true.
That being said, we're not trying to make bank. We just don't want to break the bank.
There you go. Nailed it. So we've got 2 tiers of membership, right? We've got level 1, which is $1 a month, okay? So just think about the logistics of $1 a month. Just $1. You could feed some children somewhere for just $1 a month.
I was like, for 5 cents.
You could fund our ridiculous podcasts for $1 a month.
That's literally nothing else that you can get in this world for $1 per month.
Right?
Like nothing. You can't get a cup of coffee.
No.
Inflation's gone bananas.
You also get this podcast for $0 a month. So if $0 is more your budget, you won't lose out on the podcast. But if you do the $1 a month, you will get our monthly Patreon newsletter, which is basically a breakdown of our podcast schedule. So that's every episode that's being recorded and what the topics are. So for shows like this that are now only going to be monthly for the time being at least, you get to have a reminder of what those next topics are going to be. If you've fallen behind on things, or stuff like the Stone Age Gamer podcast, which is weekly, you get a month's worth of topics in advance. Now, if ever there's a topic that hasn't been chosen, or if there's a topic that you want to suggest, the Patreon page is an easy way to do that. So the $1 tier gets you access to our monthly newsletter and any bonus content that gets cut out of episodes that we decide to throw up on there. Weird conversations that don't make sense in relative terms of anything else. If that stuff ever happens, I can't promise that it does.
Do you remember Bosscast?
I do.
Oh,
yeah.
Crap.
The good old buffet of fuckery. Every now and then we have strange conversations that get recorded, and if those happen, those will fit in the $1 tier. I just didn't really include them in the tier because they're not something that we can guarantee will ever happen. It just kind of happen organically. Now, level 2 is where things get super interesting, because not only do you get the newsletter, but you get what we are testing out, early access to our episodes. To start, that early access will be via a YouTube link, but if more people get onto this tier and want the early access, let us know how you would prefer to get that early access, and we can work on figuring out how to make that happen. Yeah. Just because it's the simplest thing for us to do, we're starting off with YouTube links, but that is not this is it forever. It's more of this is what it's like for now. Let us know how to change things and get better, and we will. So this week's episode, you'll get 2 days in advance. New episodes will be posting on Wednesdays now. But if you happen to be a $3 tier member, that's just $3 a month. $3
You still can't get a cup of coffee for $3. I'm kidding. You can, but it's a small cup of coffee, and you don't want it. You want the big one that costs more than $3.
Yeah, so just give your $3 to us and fuck coffee.
And if you don't drink coffee, well, then I don't know what's wrong with you, but you should give us your $3.
So that gets you this week's episode on Mondays. So this episode you would be getting on September 5th instead of September 7th if you happen to be one of our existing patrons. Other shows like Waveback, my video game music podcast, that will be the same situation. New episodes on Wednesdays, early access on Mondays. Same thing goes for A Theater Near You, our movie podcast, and my new music podcast, Turning Tracks. Yes, that is a pun. Also on Mondays. And Stone Age Gamer, you actually get decently early. Stone Age Gamer will still go up on Fridays as usual every week, but early access episodes will be on Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. So you get Tuesday instead of Friday on all new episodes of the Stone Age Gamer podcast. That's what we have for our Patreon right now. I know it's not earth-shattering or anything, but neither is what we're asking for. So if we can just get a small fraction of the people who listen to our podcast to give just $1 a month, we get just a fraction of them, then we will easily cover the costs of our website and maybe even someday put some money towards some new recording equipment.
Oh my God,
I mean,
that is
so we were literally just talking about, before we started recording, new recording equipment for in my house. But there's other things that we can be doing, like you and Dan were talking about traveling to a show. Like that, first off, traveling, paying for that. If we set up at a show, like that costs money, like getting a table or whatnot.
This may come as a surprise to you, dear listeners, but we're not made of money.
Far
No
from
one
it.
pays us or asks us to go to these shows. We just pay to go to them.
And
That's not true. We were invited to Long Island
SAG
Restaurant.
was invited to.
Okay,
Long
sorry,
Island
wait,
Restaurant.
hold
We,
on.
as
You're
TWEP
listening to TWEP now. No one gives a shit.
She said us.
Got
So,
it.
but what I wanted to point out is that this Patreon is for Geekade, not for TWEP, not for SAG, not for Turning Tracks, not like it is
Wave
for
back,
the
Sparkcast.
Geekade library. So if you sign up for the early access, you're getting early access to all of the shows
Whether you want it or not.
because
Damn it.
it's available. Like we're making it, we're trying to make it available for our Geekade family, not just the TWEP family or just the SAG family. Or like we want everybody. This is what this website started as, is this geek culture, like geek community. We want everybody to be enjoying all of the weirdness that we like. Right now we're starting
Synergy.
with synergy. Right now we're starting with 2 tiers. I know Angie had mentioned maybe doing some sort of coloring page or
Yeah, if we get, okay, so this is the thing. If anyone from any of our podcasts puts in a request for content of any kind or a drawing, I will draw it and turn it into a coloring book page for you guys to eventually get to the point where we can have like maybe a whole book of coloring pages. But I will do things on theme. People fucking like coloring. Don't lie to me. Go like it. Go color things.
there are
I just want to contribute.
There are other options and possibilities for future tiers. If there's something that you guys are interested in or something that you participate with at another show, like let us know. Maybe we will incorporate that. I literally for half a minute thought about, hey, I will offer my editing experience. Like if you're starting your podcast and you want, it's like an editor for once a month kind of thing. You throw me some money and we will figure that out kind of thing. And granted, that's time and energy and whatnot, but you're still getting a viable product in return. So that's what we're hoping for. That's what we're shooting for.
What we're saying is there's not much we won't do for your money.
That sounds kind of gross, but it's true.
Now, the only shows that aren't involved in the earlier access program are Sparkcast, the SNES podcast, and Weekend Rental. Those 3 shows are not currently involved in the earlier access stuff, but we're working with talking to the creators. They're part of the Geekade podcast network, but right now they don't have we don't have the ability to make those early access episodes, but perhaps we will in the future, and also be able to include them in the just monthly schedules as well. But we're still working that out. We're still working a lot of this out. It's early. We're just trying our darndest here, and we really want this to take off a little bit more than it did last time when we did pretty much nothing to entice people to sign up for the Patreon.
Right. And now we're trying to give at least a little bit of something. So
Yeah.
So, Chris, you did make comment about the fact that for the foreseeable future, we are dropping down to 1 episode a month. I am going to take full responsibility for that. It's my fault. I have a shitty job that has a shitty schedule, and I can't guarantee and can't make my fellow co-hosts revolve their lives around my shitty work schedule. So for the time being, we're going to break it down to just 1 episode a month. We're going to pretty much do the same premise. It's what we've been watching for the first half, and then a homework assignment for the second half. If there's any major news stories, we will drop those in. But our news episodes were going there was so much space in between each one of them. A lot of that news just became fluff, and it was just just a chance for us to chat with each other and talk about television again. So now we're just going to streamline it a little bit better and make it so that the first half we're just going to cover what we've been watching, that and a quick explanation, whether it be an explanation or like just how we feel about it, and then the second half will be our homework assignment, and we may do that slightly differently, but we just gotta unfortunately streamline it or take a step back right now because of my schedule. Hopefully in the near future things will ease up again and I will be able to dedicate quality time to my friends and family.
Nah.
I mean, like, I made a comment to Chris earlier today or yesterday, I can't even remember what it was, about something that I wanted to do with him, and it would just be a thing that we do once a month. But I can't say like when that recording day is. That's the problem. I don't know what my schedule is because, like I said, I work a really shitty job, so I have to.
And I'm also pretty booked.
And that's the thing. Like, we have to fit that shit in when we can, if it was to even become a thing. Right now, I found out I was able to tell my co-hosts when we are recording a week before we actually recorded, because that's when I got my schedule. So we're gonna do it the best that we possibly can to make it so that this shit does not affect us again. So now that all of that bullshit is out of the way and we've talked the business end of this show, what the hell have you been watching for the past month?
Nothing.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Movies, only
like
movies.
TikToks. That's about it. Just lots and TikToks.
Yeah, TikTok time goes. It's weird how, like, as soon as you start TikToks or Reels, like, the time just vanishes because they're really so funny and seamless and so quick to say, oh, no, this is not what I want to watch. Oh, look, no, I do want to watch that.
I do kind of love the way Evan has curated his TikTok.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a guy I like. He's funny. He's a North Carolinian that just comments on other videos. Usually telling people he needs Jesus.
I have a teenage family member who sends me about 30 TikToks a day.
Oh,
my God.
Outside of my following page and my FYP, I always have to clear through my messages, and it's almost all videos about animes that I don't watch, and just weird shit.
There you go.
And I love this kid. I love them, but
they watch some weird
they
shit.
send me a lot of shit.
Why don't you watch the Animu, Karen? Watch the Animu. One of us.
All right, so.
I have nothing against the anime. I have something against not having 45 hours in a day.
Wouldn't it be great? No,
it would
not
just
be
end
great.
up being more work. Let's be
true.
real.
Oh wait, there's your
The
list.
only way it works is that if you can control time so that you're the only one who gets the extra time.
Yes.
Then it works. If everyone else just stops and you get a bunch more hours in the day, then it's great. But if everyone gets all the extra hours, doesn't fucking do nothing.
I agree.
Get the scientists working on the tube technology.
So, Karen, I want to throw out a thank you for in our chat making the idea of putting the list of what we actually watched.
I just figure it's been 2 months. Maybe we should write things down so we remember and not spend an hour fumbling for oh yeah, what was that thing I watched?
It made me go back through my Plex history to go, oh shit, we have watched quite a bit. I think it's just easiest to just work through your list. We'll just go because a lot of them.
I'm sure there's overlap.
A lot of overlap. There's one or two here that I know about, but we haven't watched. But go ahead, start us off.
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm not in charge of things.
Yeah, wow, that just happened.
I didn't do the assignment. No, I did it, but then I turned it in and forgot about it and turned my brain off. All right, we finished the Umbrella Academy season 3.
So
I thought it was great.
Finished. Like we are 2 off, I think.
Yeah.
No, we finished the whole ding dang thing.
Watching him figure out his powers.
Who's him? Really?
Old guy who used to be young guy.
No. Klaus. No, Klaus.
Yeah.
Klaus.
There you go. I was like, I'm not helping you with
Thank
this.
you.
You need to
My
remember
brain
Klaus.
is old. Watching Klaus
Klaus is the greatest.
watching him figure out his powers was amazing. All right.
A lot about that season was great, except we didn't like some things that happened with Allison, but I won't go into it because you guys aren't caught up.
Well,
Well,
I
I
would
mean-
say we're far enough along right now that we sure shit
don't-
had
we-
opinions, but
We don't
that's
like
okay.
Allison either. So
Yeah,
I like Allison. I just don't know like what they did with her.
I don't like Allison.
What the hell,
in
man?
this season.
Yeah, I don't like
Her turn to bitterness, especially when she went from being like so supportive of Victor and like all of these changes, and then just being like, you know what? I'm angry. Here, let me assault my own family member. Like, what?
Should literally fuck everybody.
I'm just gonna fucking murder this guy.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna kill him and stuff him in a trunk. Just straight to murder. Like,
excessive.
That's a 90-degree turn there.
that's
Yeah.
some. I
That's
feel
some
like the writer
direction.
forgot some very important connective tissue from getting some characters the way they acted from point A to point B.
Agreed.
But I can't say I cared that much because I was so entertained by the show anyway. But still,
There's
writing
a lot
left
of really,
a lot to
really
be
good
desired.
stuff in this show. A lot of really good stuff.
I will say though that was one thing that like borderline it nearly took me out of it. It really did, just because I was like, this doesn't
feel you.
like I was like, is it me? Like,
What is she doing? Like
Yeah.
everything else is so great. What is she doing?
I just had a really hard time coming to terms with the choices that she made because nothing about her character thus far has made sense to me. Like even with trauma and like all of the stuff that she's had to deal with, it still doesn't seem to fit the way that she's been written.
Poorly written. That's it. All right, moving on.
And we did get news that they are dropping a 4th and final season. So
Oh, good.
hopefully there's going to be some resolution there that explains some shit. Stranger Things, we finished season 4 part 2.
Yeah, we did.
All
did
2
we?
episodes of it.
Loved it.
Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this. Very much liked it. You guys caught up?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember your
I feel
notes.
that there was
Yes.
a lot of wasted time in it. Like it didn't have to be 2.5 hours each episode. But it was an enjoyable ride for the points that were really good. Like that whole Russian bit. Like what? Why so long?
There was a lot of back and forth there.
Why so long?
But
yes, we know he's a dick. He's
it
gonna
was
sabotage the helicopter.
very gratifying when they finally broke out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Kicked the ass of the Demogorgons, got Hopper back. All of that was
Buff Hopper.
There was
super.
there was fire. There was the
Metallica.
payoff was worth it. I thought. I'm very very pleased.
Definitely.
Enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great new characters. Hopefully Eddie will somehow be back.
Yes.
We'll see.
He did.
According to the internet, there's theories out there. I haven't checked out what they are, and I don't want to know, but
Dark Eddie.
very
He has a curly Q
popular.
mustache.
So, and apparently there's this section of the internet that thinks that Eddie and Steve are in love. So I don't know what that's about.
What? Okay, listen, y'all. Stop. Some of this wishful thinking is just too far.
I know, right? Like
Two
I'm,
male characters like each other, therefore they must be gay.
Yes.
Well, that's how it works, Chris.
That's how it works.
When,
Everyone is gay.
when two boys like each other, they really like each other.
Yep.
That's why you and Evan are going to run away together.
We've actually said it in text.
I mean,
somewhere, if I'm not
that's
mistaken.
that's how the conversation about restarting the podcast opened up. So, you guys are ones to talk.
Oh, okay. So we still got one more. Okay.
Next up, we continued on the murder train. with Only Murders in the Building.
We just finished that
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah,
the
we
day
did
before?
too. Well, it just ended.
It
was
just ended.
like last
we
week
were
or
watching that
something.
almost current. Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of that. I
God,
liked
me
that
too.
a lot.
Love
Like-
that show.
I was
Yeah,
upset with the spin. Like I thought, like what, like when they, the setup at the end, and I was like, no, they're not going to do this again. No, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I like this. This is good. Didn't like blow my socks off, but I was like, this is better than what I expected it to be. Because damn, did I think it was that one character. The whole
Yeah,
time.
I didn't know how they were going to do a season 2 when they said they were going to do a season 2, and then they did it, and it was like halfway through episode 7, I think, that I was like, I think I know what happened, and I was close. I wasn't right, but I was close.
Mm-hmm.
I just had the wrong woman,
Right.
but everything else I figured out. But yeah, it was great, and the teaser for season 3.
Oh.
Ant-Man shows up. Loving it.
Especially with Paul fucking Rudd being the victim. That's outstanding. So,
Glorious.
So
More
I'm
Paul
curious
Rudd.
about your next one because I acquired this and it was not what I thought it was. I'm curious as to okay, go.
I don't know that this was what anybody thought it was going to be. We watched I Am Groot, which was just 5-minute shorts on Disney Plus. We watched them all with the kids,
Okay.
even though the kids have little to no context of who Groot is, but that doesn't matter. Absolutely adorable,
Okay.
adorable and hilarious. But yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that that's what that was going to be. Did you guys?
Nope. I don't even know if did you see any of it, hon?
No.
Okay, because it's adorable. Like that's the reason I grabbed it, and it's Groot. And I was like, "What? Is this going to tie into the MCU? Is this going to be like that?" And then no, oh no, these are just adorable. Like it's like Forky, that little run.
Forky asks a question.
Like that has nothing to do with Toy Story, but it was adorable. So yeah,
Yeah, I like the last one that had Rocket in there, where he came and was like, "And she get the walls both wet and on fire."
Awesome.
Oh, all right.
Did you, that next one on my list? Did you want to save that as your second half?
That's my second half. So
All right, we'll skip
on that
over
one.
that. And I just did a thing that was bad. Sandman. So we watched Sandman. You guys watch any
Ooh.
Sandman?
No,
How is it so far? Or is it done?
We finished it.
it's available. All of it's available.
Except for the bonus episode. We don't
Except
watch.
for the
that's right,
bonus
yeah, right.
episode. It took us a long time to get into it.
Okay.
7 episodes.
Oh,
I
that is.
am. Yeah.
Wait a minute. It took you powered through 7 episodes.
We stuck with it. After 2 or 3, I was like, I am going to watch this out of Neil Gaiman loyalty, honey. You
Okay.
can drop it if you want to. And he's like, we came this far. And it wasn't that it was bad or not interesting, but it just was it wasn't compelling. It wasn't pulling you into oh, I want to see what happens next. I want to see what happens next. Neither one of us is super familiar with the source material. Please don't send me emails, Neil Gaiman fans. I'm sorry. I love him. It's just this is not my jam. But yeah, it just took a long time to get where it was going, and then it got where it was going, and it was pretty good. The
And then it was
casting's
done, right?
fantastic. And then it was done.
Got
The
it.
casting's fantastic. The dude who plays Dream is freaking perfect. And I read somewhere that he got, or someone told me that he got cast because he said the lines exactly the way Neil Gaiman heard them in his head.
Wow.
That's cool.
Unless he had a conversation with Neil, that's fucking amazing because Neil's crazy.
Yeah. Patton Oswalt is Matthew the Raven.
Of course.
So that's pretty fun.
Yeah,
I did
he's
not
great.
expect that. And I really enjoyed Jenna Coleman as Joanna Constantine. I guess.
All right. I mean,
Chris
like that,
Chris felt more that it was like it's just Jenna Coleman being Jenna Coleman, which I get, but I like Jenna Coleman, so I was fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't really do anything for me. It was fine.
And
Yeah.
I wanted more of the like Rose Walker storyline. Like once we got really in depth with her, I was like, I wish we had met her sooner, and then maybe I think it was just a matter of like structuring the season differently would have worked better for me. However,
Did they do
I got
stuff
more
out of
into
time?
this than I did the books, so I think it's an improvement.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Did they do?
Yeah,
did
like
they do stuff
okay.
like out of chronological order?
I don't know
Oh,
the
yeah.
source. So.
Yeah, they're not-
Well,
No
no, I
idea.
just
I
meant
don't
like
know
The
if they
Witcher was doing stuff where like it does
Oh,
not.
no,
no,
not at all. So,
No,
Oh,
it was
okay.
actually very in chronological order, which
Okay.
I think made it more accessible.
It just it sounded like you said the way that they did it. I was wondering if there was anything specific about that, and like maybe that would be it.
No, they just spent like the first like 3 episodes explaining how Dream got like trapped in the mortal realm and how he escaped. And they spent a really long time on that, and then like they had to get through all of that before they could explain like, and then while he was gone, this is all the stuff that happened in the dreaming, and then all the stuff happened in the dreaming led to what happened with Rose Walker, and then it got interesting. It was just like, it was a lot. They spent a whole episode on, I don't remember the dude's name, but he's the one who had Dream's ruby. They spent a whole episode on him and what he did with the ruby.
Oh, see, I don't know anything about.
And, like, it
I
was-
didn't read Sandman, so
it was
Yeah.
kind of interesting, but it was like,
It was like a standalone, basically.
yeah.
And it was David Thewlis who played Lupin in the Harry Potter movies, and he's great.
cool.
And like the whole thing with Dream being trapped in the mortal world, like, God, they spent a lot of, like, the first episode was a slog, and it was all about him stuck in the mortal realm, and he doesn't say anything the whole time. Dream just sits naked in a ball for like 3 episodes, and then all this stuff happens around him, and it doesn't mean shit. By the time you get to the actual plot of the show that's interesting, all the things that happened to him while he was gone didn't really mean anything. Like all the family and the that passed the stones down and everything, it didn't amount to anything. And it was well done, but I didn't care. And that was my biggest problem. I didn't care enough about what happened next. And I think part of my problem was how overhyped certain performances were. Like, I guess this comes from people who are like super into the books, because I have zero connection to the books. I couldn't get into them. I never really read them. So when I saw Joanna Constantine instead of John Constantine, it's like, all right, why did we make this choice?
Right.
Because you like Jenna Coleman? Because like right now, I don't see why you made John Constantine Joanna Constantine for any reason other than funsies. And I'm sure that's fine, but there's nothing special happening here. Lucifer, I think, what's her name?
Gwendolyn Christie.
Gwendolyn Christie. I think she's great, but like, and they did this really awesome battle with Lucifer, but like her as Lucifer, what's the non-binary person who played Desire?
I don't know their name.
They were great. They had menace. there was this like degree of menace and flair to their personality. I just didn't feel anything from Lucifer, which was like, this is a really cool concept of the way that they battled one another, but I didn't get any feeling of menace or any real like charming personality out of Lucifer. I didn't get any of that. And the other one was, I didn't have a problem with Death, but the way the internet was ranting and raving about this amazing performance. Oh, this person is perfect as Death. She's just fucking nails it. Couldn't possibly be better. Anybody who thinks this is wrong is a fucking moron. This is perfect. And she was fine. But she didn't do anything that like knocked my socks off or anything. Like, so I feel like a lot of it was probably overhyped, which was probably what set my expectations for certain things too high. I thought the death episode was really good, but there wasn't anything about this show that hit me so hard of like, no, this is absolutely fucking amazing. I like the concepts that the world builds, and once it got to that plot of the what was the guy with the glasses name?
Gilbert. No.
Really?
Corinthian. The Corinthian. Like he's set up super early, and I'm like, well, that's an interesting villain. You don't see him again until he comes back towards the end. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's all right. I like this. I like these concepts, but it was good. It didn't like floor me.
Gotcha.
And to the extent of like, all right, now that we finished this, do I want to watch this bonus episode that's like an hour and a half long or whatever?
Jesus,
like,
why do they keep doing
there's so
this
much
shit?
other stuff that I really want to watch, and I felt like I was watching, with the exception of the last 4 or 5 episodes, I felt like I was watching it out of responsibility instead of joy.
I
Yeah,
think the
that's
hype
not
has a lot to do with how beloved this property is, and
Yeah.
how much anxiety that maybe fans had about the adaptation, and the fact that it came out faithful made them feel like it was amazing. And without us having a connection to the source material, we were just like, it's not amazing, it's good.
Yeah.
So I think
Solid.
that explains that.
And that's not a
Please.
bad thing. Like, you know,
No.
it's good for it to be good, but like that's the thing. Like the internet and the hype train, and I'm going to speak to something later on about the negatives and whatnot. Like a show needs to be able to stand on its own, and whether you know source material or not. And it sounds like this show does, but those that know the source material hyped it up so much that it makes it not as good, which is a shame.
It's
Like-
a standard that few things could have possibly lived up to.
Right. All right.
And Neil Gaiman's been pretty open about how, like, this is like the biggest streaming success on Netflix ever, and that's still not enough to convince Netflix that
A season 2 is
that they're going to renew it for season 2, because like Netflix's metric is how fast people binge things.
Are you
As to
freaking
whether-
serious?
Netflix is so
They're
goddamn
so
stupid.
fucking stupid.
They're so fucking
And
stupid.
people haven't binged this fast enough for whatever reason, because we have lives, Netflix, god damn it.
I don't understand Netflix, man. They're making so many bad choices, just hiking the cost of everything and canceling shit left and right. Like, before anything gets, they canceled Resident Evil, for crying out loud. I didn't watch that, but I know like people watched it. They made like 13 of those stupid fucking movies, and they can't even keep the show around for a second season to see if it can find its footing. Like, God, Netflix
It's
is
not how you do it, Netflix.
Netflix is fine, but they're kind of in trouble, you know?
It used to be so much better. Like I actually donated money to like, because I was so happy with their quality of content, I was just giving the money and not watching it because of nefarious means. Like I literally didn't have to pay for it because I had access. I just said, I like the stuff that they are doing. They deserve my money. And now they don't. So I took it back. No, you were asking for more money and you're giving me lower quality content and not giving me a chance to like the stuff that you're trying to put out there. Like, no, that's not how this game is played. Good sir. No.
Yeah, they're throwing a great thing in the toilet, and I really hope that they stop.
Indeed.
But anyway, let's
Next.
keep this train
back
moving.
to the list. The rest of these are short shows that I think we could talk about briefly. We have watched seasons 1 and 2 of Lower Decks. We were caught up until the new season dropped.
Yep.
Lower Decks is fucking great. I'm turning into a Star Trek person, and I don't know who I am anymore.
Isn't it weird? Like, it's
It is
weird.
weird.
Like, I got that.
I'm not
like,
mad.
It's like, I watched the shit out of that and Orville. Like, and I enjoy the shit out of both of those shows. I'm like, am I a Star Trek fan? Do I not know that I'm a Star Trek fan?
That's how it starts, honey. Everyone's a Star Trek fan that just doesn't know it yet.
Because it's good television. It's just good television.
But I
It
think
is
I
a
like the
gosh
Star
darn
Trek that's
good
not
time.
Star Trek, though. Like, Lower Decks is not normal Star Trek.
No, but, it doesn't have to be.
We were talking to somebody else about this show recently, and it was just like, this is a Star Trek story we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
All the other Star Trek properties are all about bridge crew, and there's like thousands of people on a starship. So let's see somebody else.
What's Picard's number one?
Riker.
Riker. When Riker shows up, and like he talks as if his chest is always puffed up. Like that's fantastic.
Oh God! And there's going to be a Strange New
is.
Worlds Lower Decks crossover that I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait.
That's a live action and an animated. I cannot wait. All right,
Yes.
next.
So we finished up what we had of Lower Decks and jumped into season 1 of Harley Quinn,
Nice.
which was surprisingly great.
Okay, good.
Not that we expected it to be bad, but
I just didn't expect it to be this
that
good. Because wow.
Yeah, season 1 was great. It's season 2 goes slightly differently, but it's still great. Still good stuff.
It's got like very high joke density.
Oh yeah.
And just the level of crassness from like a character that I'm mostly familiar with from the Batman the Animated Series and Justice League. So for her to be like a bubblegum kind of villain, and then she's dropping F-bombs left and right, it kind of like shook me for a second, and then I was like, okay, I'm on board with this 100%.
The tertiary characters in that show are fantastic. I mean, King Shark is one of my favorite animated people on any show, and he just gets better and better as the show progresses. Like I'm in season 3 watching this, and there's an episode where King Shark has to go back to his home because his dad dies and his brother's becoming the king. So he has to like give the crown away, and this is giant battle. It's fantastic, but it's King Shark with that comedic. Oh yes, you should talk like this. Like, no, that's not how King Shark is supposed to talk, but it's okay because it's fantastic.
And I like the show's hilarious, but I like what it has to say too. It has a message underneath, and
Yep.
it has like things to say about women and equality and all that good stuff, and I like it. So,
Have you
that
gotten to
makes me
Kite Man yet?
Kite Man, yes,
Good.
we have gotten to Kite Man. Kite Man. And then with the kids, we have been alternating between season 1 of She-Ra and season 1 of DuckTales. We're almost through season 1 of She-Ra.
And these are rewatches for you guys? Right?
These are rewatches for
Okay.
She-Ra, and they've watched DuckTales before, yeah.
Oh wait, is this?
No, they didn't really watch DuckTales.
Oh,
I
okay.
watched most of it by myself.
Is this
and
new or
we
old
never watched
DuckTales?
the last seasons of both of these shows. Neither one have we finished. No.
Is this the current DuckTales or the old school DuckTales?
Current DuckTales.
Current
Okay.
DuckTales.
All right.
And those are fun. But the kids never seem like when it's their turn to pick, they never pick these. So
Gotcha.
they're happy enough to watch them. We're about to hit the season 1 finale of She-Ra, and I might change my pick to something else. There's a new season of Bluey dropped that I want to see, and also my Nibbling has been sending me lots of clips of Owl House, which looks like a cute show. So I want to see that as well.
Owl House. That's funny. We were at a convention, and Angela has a piece of artwork that's of an owl, and at the show, like, a group of young ladies came. It's like, oh my god, that's such and such from Owl House, and I'm like, no, that's Tilted Owl, because it's an owl with his head tilted to the side. It's not a character. No, it's exactly okay. If that's what you want it to be, it is. Do you want to buy it?
I was like, if you're buying it, you can call it whatever you want.
Call it whatever you want.
Absolutely. And then on my own, I have, in addition to rewatching a shit ton of West Wing all summer, which is weird to watch the older and more politically aware you get, and also weird to watch them handle issues like 20 years ago now that are the same as what we're dealing with now, except everything is worse. That's really weird. I don't know why I'm still finding it comforting, but I am. And in addition to those, I think I talked about Heartstopper the last time we recorded, which was like a very sweet YA rom-com thing. And I was like, I need more of the same flavor. So I went to Amazon and watched The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is a really cute story. It's based on a series of books by Jenny Han, who also did To All the Boys I've Loved Before, that was on Netflix. This was on Amazon, The Summer I Turned Pretty, and it's about this Asian American girl who her family vacations with another family on Long Island, I guess, every summer, and they're all teenagers now, and the other family has these two boys. And this is the summer that she turned pretty, and she like stopped being an awkward teenager and got hot. And then there's like a love triangle with the brothers, and it's just all very, fluffy and delicious and exactly the kind of thing that I needed.
Nice.
And I caught up with the Girls 5 Evo season 2, which was also fun. I don't think it was as good as season 1.
I'm sorry.
I mean, when you're writing a show, when you're writing a comedy, that part of the comedy is based on like songwriting, you gotta have a deep pouch of great songs. Like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend did this really well. They came out with banger after banger after banger. And Sarah Bareilles is a great songwriter, but I don't know that like the comedy writing is up to continually coming up with that many great comedy songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the plot lines got kind of weird because they're really they're leaning into like the middle-agedness of all these characters, which is super great and relatable, but also like TV is kind of an escape for people, and like things got a little too real. Like there was a pregnancy scare for somebody who was like not sure if they were able to have more kids or wanted to have more kids, and then they got pregnant. I was like, I'm trying to laugh at silly songs here and a goofy satire show. I don't necessarily want this. I don't want this chocolate in my peanut butter.
Well said. I'm sorry. I just caught me off guard.
So I liked it, but I think season 1 was better, and we'll see. I don't even know if we're gonna get another season. So that's all of our stuff. What did
Chris,
we miss?
You have anything that you were watching on your own specifically, or just the show that you're going to talk about second half?
Just that second half. That's the only thing.
Okay. So quickly, for us, the only thing that we hadn't mentioned, we are caught up on Resident Alien.
Yay.
Yeah.
This is some bullshit. It's like become one of my catchphrases.
As it should.
Always. For me, I watched a couple of things that I'm just going to touch upon. I think I may have mentioned the Dark Side series. Dan had asked me to get the Dark Side of Wrestling, and it's a Vice show, and they've also come out with the Dark Side of the 90s, but recently they just released the Dark Side of Comedy, and first 2 episodes were of Chris Farley and Andrew Dice Clay. And like, I love this Dark Side series. I think it's really well done. The information that they give is really, really good. It's really in depth.
Evan loves the darkness,
and it's weird. Like especially the '90s one. Like I was reliving shit. I was like, oh my god, I remember that. Watching the Andrew Dice Clay episode, I actually was so uncomfortable because Angela came home, and I'm like, I can't watch this with you here because he is so fucking inappropriate, so bad. Yes. And he was like a rock star in the 90s, But
I'm familiar with Dice Clay. My dad was a Dice Clay fan, and my dad passed away when I was 17, which tells you exactly how old I was when I was overhearing Dice Clay material.
yeah, and it was like I was saying,
Not appropriate.
I was saying the content that I remembered. I haven't said this shit in 15 fucking years. How is this still in my head? But yeah, the Dark Side series is great. Wrestling, 90s, and comedy. I'm pretty sure I mentioned the G word. What's that guy's name?
Adam Conover.
Conover.
Yeah. Yep.
All about the government, and
He worked with Obama.
It was really, really well done. Like, it was really good. A lot of great information given, both pro and con of the government and the way things are handled. So it opened my eyes to a number of things that I wasn't aware of. So if you're looking at if you like the way Adam ruins everything, this is that just about the government. I, for some reason, started watching Wayward Pines. It's weird. I sort of enjoyed it, but it was one of those, I was up all night because we had a situation at the house, and I just turned it on and I started watching it like 4 episodes in, and I have not been able to find the time to put it back on. It's about this guy who gets stuck in a town and he's not allowed to leave, and he becomes the chef. It's really weird. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to get back to it. I know I've mentioned previously watching Bird Girl. I am current on Bird Girl. I love it when Angie pops in and watches it and enjoys it as much as I do.
The show is fantastic, and I relate way too much. And also, the opening is literally my internal monologue.
Oh my god! I suggest it. Watch it. It's a lot of fun, and Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, like that mindset of comedy, like it's that vein. It's really, really entertaining. I am current on the Orville. I am praying that they come up with another season or they find a home for this show, because it is fantastically done. I'm so curious it's for Chris to watch it to see what a Star Trek fan feels about it, but I'm not pushing.
Well, I mean, I did not care for that first episode that we watched, but I've come to understand that the show changes pretty considerably after season 1. So.
Yeah, the season 1 was the Family Guy version of fucking Star Trek, and then it just became like a want-to-be Star Trek. Like, they're paying homage to their roots, and they just pepper in the comedy, not the other way around like they did in the first season.
Yeah, one thing that Evan has pointed out to me, like, I would kind of sit down next to him once in a while and he'd be like, yeah, so they just did this one episode that was like super heavy and da-da-da, and it's like, they're definitely covering complex subjects. Some of the subjects that I would say be on par with like when I was watching Next Gen, like Star Trek Next Gen.
Transgender reassignment, like
yeah, but the way that they're tackling it, they just tend to throw in a little bit more comedy, and I think it makes it more fun to watch. Whereas I think, like, if you enjoy like Star Trek Next Generation, I think for me at least sometimes it got a little bit dry.
Yeah. That was
Next Gen dry? The heck you say?
And that was
like,
why I was never intrigued
softly.
or interested in Star Trek, because I always felt it was so dry. This is giving me that feel, but not as it's still serious, but it's not as serious, not as heavy, even though they are talking about heavy topics. All right, with that, Harley Quinn, caught up on that. I started watching Preacher, and I love it. I'm like halfway through season 2, and I think the show is fantastic. I can't believe I missed it the first time through. I was never a fan of the comics, but it's great. I love all the characters. That the whole cast is doing a really good job. There's a
Dominic Cooper's in that, right?
I want to say,
yeah, I think he's the main
guy who played Tony Stark in
Howard Stark.
Howard Stark.
Well, yeah, excuse me, Howard Stark in Agent Carter.
Yep.
Yeah, he plays the
him.
preacher, and he does a great job. And I had no basis of information for where the character came from, and I was hooked by episode 1. I haven't spoken to anybody who knows the source material, but it's not bothering me either way. Like I don't need it to follow because it's a really engaging and entertaining television show. So yeah, enjoying the hell out of that. I downloaded and watched a couple of episodes of the Cuphead show.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was some weird shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Weird.
you know who really loves the Cuphead show? Our almost 6-year-old daughter.
That tracks. There's a lot of violence in that show.
She just is a cuckoo.
Yeah, the art style is fantastic. I love that art style. And it's I don't know, at points in time it's like oddly childish and then not so much. So I still haven't gotten a solid read on it yet. I still got a bunch of episodes to go. And I'm caught up on Lower Decks. So I unfortunately, with my evening show, I have wrapped all the way around all of the Ghost Hunters, all of the Ghost Nation, all of the Kindred Spirits like 2 or 3 times. So I had to find something else to watch. And by God, there are 18 seasons of Ancient fucking Aliens. And I am now falling to sleep every night to that. How they fill 18 seasons and at least 10 episodes per season of this shit is beyond me, but I am enthralled. How they could tie everything back to aliens is amazing.
The answer is yes. He is slowly losing
I'm going
brain
crazy.
cells
I'm going
while
nutty.
watching.
Hun, it's your turn. Do you have the list up?
I do.
Okay.
All right, here we go. I'm going to power through this and not give a lot of descriptions because I got to get up early for work. Okay, I finished Black Sails, the rewatch that I had been doing way back when. It was just really wonderful, and there's an extremely brutal scene that happens in the 4th season that I had forgotten that there's anything after that. I literally thought that that was how the show ended. I was like, man, the show's so depressing. No, it's just the fact that it was so deeply ingrained into my brain that I forgot anything else happened after that. So, spoiler, happy ending. It was kind of nice. Mostly happy ending. I don't know. Some people die. They're pirates. It happens.
Yeah.
Then, and also to clarify, this is a spin-off of like Treasure Island, so there's this aspect of like the treasure and all this other stuff. So I don't know, it's just really cool. I love it. 30 Rock, I've been slowly doing a rewatch of that / actual watch through because I've never watched through the whole show. I don't know what it is with like me just picking shows where people are fucking terrible because like everyone on that show is fucking terrible. But I guess I must be either jaded or I'm going to hell because I've started being like, yes, I love this.
These are my people. They're speaking to me.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just things about it where I'm like, wow, you guys are terrible. Let's keep going.
And what's funny is I know what show you're going to talk about next.
Yes.
Just the opposite.
And then I think I'm trying to cancel this out and bring a little bit of sugar back into all this sour because... My God, I've watched so much baking show. I watched all of the Great Canadian Baking Show, and then Evan somehow acquired all the beginning episodes of the Great British Baking Show. So I was watching that incredibly rough connect. Oof.
Did you just say where?
I mean, I know where, but I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's I
like
get
the
to
ones
see,
that aren't on PBS.
Yeah, I get to see like the origins of this show, and I think I know why they don't put it on PBS, but I don't care. It's still great. Like it's rough.
There's a
it's
whole
so
learning
rough.
aspect to it, like a historical aspect of it, which I thought was amazing, and I was upset that they got rid of that.
They've been doing this thing in the first few seasons where they go into the history of like certain dishes that they have on the show, and it's fascinating. Like I really love it. And then the 2 comedians on the show will go to some of these locations and they'll try stuff. And I don't know. I love it. I really think it's interesting. It makes me feel like I'm learning more. Of course, I can't retain any of the information though, because that would require more brain cells. But I'm really enjoying it and it's nice. And, in the early episodes, there's one where, it's the cake that Mary's really good at with the, squares. Oh, shit.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't.
Yeah, it's like
pull the name.
It's a super British name. It's like a Baxton something. I don't know. But whatever that cake is, like, they actually do like
her making it, right?
Yeah, they actually do like a video tutorial.
Nice,
and it's really cool.
I was just talking to somebody about this type of thing. They were talking about books, but I feel it applies. They called it a mental cheeseburger. I was like, yeah, that's it. It's a mental cheeseburger.
I love that so much. Yes. So that is wait, I did have to Google this because yes, and I did look up cake with squares inside. It's a Battenberg cake. There we
Battenberg. See, I knew it.
go. Yeah. Battenberg cake.
What's the guy's the male's name?
Paul Hollywood.
Watching
Paul Hollywood.
Paul work with her at one point in time, she's like, we need to mix this, and he goes, can I do it with my hands?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, and then he starts mixing this thing, what she was going to mix it with a mixer,
Yeah.
and then he goes, watch, we're going to go into warp speed, and then he, the speed in which his hand spun around the bowl was inhuman.
At one point I wondered if it actually hurt to mix that way, but he's like, if all of our bakers did this, they wouldn't fuck up so much, basically, was what he was saying. And I was like, oh, Paul, I love you.
Sounds like Paul.
Yep. But it was great because he really does talk about you need this kind of tactile experience with the baking in order to really understand what it is that you're trying to create. If you know what it's supposed to feel like, it's a lot harder to fuck it up.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so I kind of appreciated some of his logic behind it, and it's so funny because the stuff they put over the outside of it, he crimped edge it. It was just so stupid, some of the things they did in the cutest way. I was like, I hate and love this so much. It's like when you see a really cute baby and you kind of want to murder it.
I want to pinch its face for some reason.
Yeah.
Violent.
No, that's an actual thing in the brain.
Settle down, people.
No, no.
Anywho, move on, honey.
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock.
Okay, so I will the science explain. I will explain the
I know
science
you're
later.
gonna start googling shit.
I will.
I can feel you doing
there's real science there. Okay. Anyway, continuing on with The Walking Dead. I got to season 9. Season 8 was rough, and season 9 is one of the highest rated seasons in the show. So I did not want to ruin it for myself. So I took a little break, and then I realized we're getting close to the point where if I wait a little bit longer, by the time I actually get caught up to present, the new episodes might be out. So I'm trying to hold off a little before I go back to it. But that was kind of nuts. I don't know. I think there's some stuff that they do that's just so great on that show. And then there are other times when I'm like, why is this happening?
Why are you the way that you are?
Yeah, exactly. Really and truly. So basically, I am still enjoying The Walking Dead, but I've also noticed, and I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, every now and then when I'm watching this stuff that has this really dark content, I do just need to take a break.
A palate cleanser, you need to pause.
Yeah, I just need to give my mind a little bit, because the shows, I get it, it's a drama, you have to have high stakes, you have to have things go wrong in order to continue the story, but
it's exhausting.
I'm invested in these characters, and to some extent I'm when will your journey be over? I want you to rest. I'm not over this show. It's not like Sam and Dean where I'm oh god, another fucking crybaby whiny brother fight. I'm oh no, you guys, you've just been through a lot. It's okay. You deserve to rest now and have people not be so shitty anymore. You figured out how to kill the zombies real good. Let's just be good with that. But the stuff that you address with problem solving and everything, God, I really love that show, and I love the way that they go into old school methods of doing things for survival. It's just fascinating, and then combine new technology. Yes. Okay. I also started pushing through My Hero Academia because I am a teacher and I have students that keep talking about that show, and I also need to watch a couple of other animes, and I've been told that it's the anime version of X-Men, only better. And I will say that as I got through, I straight up had watched the first 3 episodes and been nope. I went back to it after not watching this show for literally a year, and now I'm oh, I skipped the first 3 episodes and this is tolerable. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's a pretty typical anime story for the main character, I don't really have powers, but I kind of do because I'm getting them from somebody else, so I kind of have to keep this thing a secret, but I'm going to be this super wholesome person who inspires others, and I don't know, but I do like a lot of stuff about it. I love how dynamic it is, and it kind of inspires me artistically, so that's fun. The next thing is, this is something we were both watching, but Evan dropped off and I just haven't picked it up again. We started Miss Marvel and it was not for Evan.
Yeah, we forgot to mention Ms. Marvel, but we watched that as well, and I don't know. I thought it was great. I want to show it to my kids. Like, it's probably the first Marvel show that I feel like we could show to the kids.
Yeah. I haven't, like I said, I haven't finished it, not for any reason other than I just hadn't finished it yet. I wasn't sure if Evan was definitely done, and then he was done. So I was just like, okay, cool, like, you know, I'll pick it back up again. But there's a lot of things I really do love about how the show is being handled, especially the way that, like, her inner monologue turns into these animated, like, comics. I just love that.
Yeah, I love the visual style. I love the kind of twist at the end. I mean, like, it definitely was stylistically a little, I felt a little disconnected from it stylistically, but the story and the characters were enough to keep me invested, as well as the connections to the larger MCU as a whole. I think what they're doing with damage control is neat. How spoilery do you want to talk about the ending? Like,
right. I literally know nothing about what happens at the end, and I'm actually okay with not knowing right now and getting to the end.
Okay, because there's a bomb that drops towards the end that has a little something to do with her powers, and then it kind of makes me think about other things in this show a little bit differently, and I am excited about that.
That's cool. Okay, do you feel like maybe I should know then?
No.
I don't know that. Yeah.
No, you should.
Okay.
You should
we can watch it. I mean,
Yeah,
this show is not made for me, so I'm not. It's just not engaging to me. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's
How far
good.
did you get?
2-3 episodes in.
Okay, it's only 6 total. I say stick it out to the end.
We're not. It's not a long season. Like I said, like I will watch it with you if you want to watch it. It's just it's just not for me. That's it.
I think you should watch it because there's enough cool stuff that happens throughout the rest of it. Like, some cool stuff happens. There's some good actiony stuff, and then, like, there's a couple of little bits at the very end. You're just like, wait, what?
So, you know what kills me? Like, and this is so tertiary. A Marvel comic just released of Ms. Marvel and Moon Knight, and that comic was fantastic. It was great. Like, and it had nothing, like, that character that was in that comic was so much better presented than the character I keep seeing on the show. And I'm like, I don't understand why they disconnected it so much. So it's not like I'm against Miss Marvel.
That I don't follow. I feel like she's very Kamala Khan. Like, I understand her power set's a little different, but I feel like that the character itself, I mean, at least in the little that I've read of Miss Marvel, really matches up, especially, as things go on. Like, I think as she gets more into being comfortable with having powers and being a little bit more confident. But at least that's how I read her. But that's the thing about reading. Like, your inner monologue is going to read a character one way, and it could just be totally different from anyone else's thoughts of it.
This book literally just came out like last week, maybe 2 weeks ago.
I saw images of it. I was like, that's a weird freaking team up. I'm into it though.
The one before that was her and Wolverine. Like, it's neat. I just
like the her and Wolverine. I read that a while ago too.
It just it like the show felt very. I can't think of another word, but other than juvenile, it felt very, very kid friendly, and that's not what I'm used to when it comes to the Marvel MCU. Like, it's geared towards everyone, not just kids, kind of thing. And it's just how I read it and how I felt about it. It's just not for me. That's it.
No,
all right.
I say go through it, but I freaking loved it. I was really happy with it all the way through. I think my biggest problem with it was that it was airing at the same time as Obi-Wan, and I think that hurt that show a lot. Like, Disney Plus has this thing where they do, like, and this is the show that everyone watches week after week, and then when that's done, we'll move on. We'll have a couple of weeks off, and then we'll do the next show.
Right.
And this was like, all right, Obi-Wan's dropping, and then, like, the next day Ms. Marvel's there, and, like, not even Nerdist was keeping up on the recaps as fast because Obi-Wan was the show. Like, that okay, sure, Ms. Marvel is popular, but you're like introducing a new character with a pretty bold direction. It's a brown character, it's a girl character, and you're gonna pit that against like freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi. What are you doing? Like, it almost felt like they were sending the show out to die, or if it was just to test to see how well could this show do against another massive show. But like, why not just delay it? Why not just put Miss Marvel after Obi-Wan, for crying out loud? Make that your focal point. Because
I don't think they had the faith in it. Like, I don't think they had the faith in Miss Marvel, because it is very different than the rest of the Marvel shows, and they put it out to put it out, and they still had to get that watch what they would deem as the watchable content, which was Obi-Wan. All their bets were on that, and they released this as well. Like, if they went Obi-Wan and then they had this chunk of 6 episodes with nobody watching, that means nobody's watching Disney Plus. So
yeah, but I feel like it would. I don't think that would have been the effect. I don't think Ms. Marvel wouldn't have been watched at all. I think it was watched less because the choice was between Ms. Marvel and Obi-Wan, not like, I don't care about this show. It's like, you release Ms. Marvel as your one focal point show, then okay, well, there's nothing else to watch. At the very least, I'll stick with this. But that wasn't what they did. They buried this underneath one of the biggest freaking properties on the planet. And I don't think that would have made. I think it would have been better for Ms. Marvel had it not had to compete with anything, instead of it being the other way around. And
I agree with you. I'm saying that I think Disney did not think that Ms. Marvel would do well on its own. That's why it did it. Like, I think they did not have faith in Ms. Marvel to carry the Disney Plus channel on. I don't know what came out after those 2 shows, like what followed it immediately, kind of thing, like what released. But I don't know. It's straight up just a guess. Like, yes, I feel you are correct that putting it up against Obi-Wan was a mistake.
I think, considering the writing on this show and the weight of what happens at the end of it, I think they had plenty of faith in this show. Because by the end of the show, it's pretty goddamn important to have this show going forward. Like, there's some pretty massive stuff that has an effect on what's going to happen in the future of the MCU happens because of this show. Like, I don't think there was a lack of faith in this show's ability to get an audience. I think what's happening right now with She-Hulk is more than obvious that Disney knows exactly what was going to happen with this show. The demographic that they were going for was going to like it, and a large amount of whiny man babies was going to be like, wah! And like, that was and that is exactly what happened, and it's happening with She-Hulk right now too. I don't see anything about this that shows a lack of faith in it. If anything, it seems a weird overconfidence in thinking like, no, we can totally support 2 massive shows a month, and like, there's just not enough time in the world. People are going to wind up choosing, and if it's a choice between Ms. Marvel and Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think the choice for the broader audience was pretty clear. But again, that's just my take. I thought the show was fantastic. I thought it was incredibly charming, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Like, I'm very interested in the Marvels movie. Very, very interested in it.
Okay. All right. We good, hon?
I am good.
All right.
I shouldn't have a lot of other thoughts because I'm not fully caught up and I want to wait. And I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Other things that I've been watching, I'm doing a rewatch of Penny Dreadful while I work just because I wanted to. And it's been interesting. I remembered liking it more the first time through and feeling more attached to the characters. The second time through, I've just been, I don't know, it's just different. I think I'm less attached to the characters, but I'm enjoying the show equally just because I love the premise of it so much, and I think it's fun in a weird way. It's like another dark show. I don't know. And then I'm back on Discovery of Witches. I am watching it with a friend, so I only watch when she's available, but we've gotten through a few episodes now, and
finally.
Yes, I know.
God, it's been like a year.
Listen, it's finally happening. But
what happens when you got to wait for someone else to watch the show?
Yeah. Well, it's either I watch it with her or I'm not going to watch it. So
I don't even remember what it was I had such strong feelings about anymore, but I'm happy you're watching it.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm still looking at the fact that fucking Matthew the vampire doesn't blink, but like that's cool. The last episode ended with him and the
Just one long blink.
Oh my god. Yeah, seriously. His blinks could cure cancer, but he never blinks. No, he like literally just stands there in front of his lab of people and he's like, I'm a vampire.
And they're all like, cool.
Yeah, he's like, this is my DNA on the screen. It is vampire DNA. And this is a witch. And this other person is a vampire. And that guy, he's fucking normal. Like, I don't know. It was so funny. But I was like, all right, cool. Like, I guess we're getting somewhere. Also, there's this, like, weird side plot that seems to not be a side plot. That's a main plot that they kind of, like, hinted at but didn't actually explain. And I like the fact that they, like, trust their audience to sort of think, but also, like, maybe don't breeze over this thing that seems to matter. No? Okay, that's fine. I'll figure it out. I'll Google all of these terms. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. And then I have one other thing that I will talk about in the second half. And for the record, it's called Cute Aggression.
Oh, all right, with that, I knew you were going to Google that shit. All right, so we're deep into this episode. We're going to take a quick break.
I don't get a turn?
Go ahead.
He did ask earlier if you had anything, Chris.
Yeah, I had two things that were on the list.
Sorry.
I had three until you covered Miss Marvel, but I just wanted to mention the two things that were on our list because I didn't watch much on my own.
Okay.
But after we recorded, we finished up the first season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which was truly magnificent. Whole show top to bottom I really enjoyed. It finished off really strong, and I cannot wait to watch more of it.
Nice.
And the other show that finished while we were on hiatus, I think it finished the day before the Lewis episode posted, was the season finale of The Boys.
Oh, we haven't caught up to that
yet either. Jesus.
All right, then I won't say much other than a bit happens at the very end that was like, wow, that is exactly how that would happen, and that is so fucking sick.
Oh no.
All right.
Yeah, that's a boy, just love that show, and I'm so glad it's already been renewed for another season, and
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's going to be in the
right.
new
Jeffrey
season.
Dean Morgan's going to be in the next season. They just announced that the Doctor Who special, Regeneration special, is in October, right?
Yep.
And I have given some serious consideration. We're loving DuckTales, all right? The kids are definitely getting a kick out of DuckTales. I'm enjoying that very much, and I want to keep going because I want to see the end of it. However, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection came out today, and we beat the arcade game as a 4-player foursome today. And they're asking all these questions about the characters, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe after season 1 of DuckTales, I dovetail into season 1 of the 2012 Ninja Turtles cartoon, maybe? I don't know.
It's a good one.
It's a really good one. It's really good. But yeah, all right. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you, Drive Through.
All right. Let us take a quick break. We're going to do some commercials, and when we get back, we are going to talk about the special picks for each one of us. Yeah, please stay tuned.
And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, on an all-new Weekend Rental podcast, Ryan and Andy are going to recap the exciting events of a metalcore concert and hammering nails with the wrong side. I don't know what that means, so you're going to have to listen to find out. Which metalcore concert? We don't know. The wrong side of what? We don't know that either. I don't know a lot of things. What we do know, though, is that they talked about a whole lot of movies, including Prey, the opposite of Predator, or is it? Find out in Weekend Rental episode 132, the gamers are ready to pray.
That makes sense. I did not pick up on that.
Oh my god, that's why I had to read that commercial, Benny.
Next, who wants a double dose of Mickey Mouse? You do, of course. In the latest episode of the SNES podcast, Greg and Joe look at a pair of Nintendo Power. Wait, look at a pair of Mickey games. Okay, let's try this again. Greg and Joe look at a pair of Mickey games at Follow Up Magical Quest. Is that a game? I guess.
Yeah.
One of them,
It's magical.
one of them got a cover spot on Nintendo Power, while the other never saw a release in the U.S. at all. Learn all about them and how they hold up today in the SNES podcast, episode 195, The Great Circus Mystery and Magical Quest 3.
Finally, Dan and Chris have a new recording schedule starting this week. So what did they do to make sure you fine folks don't miss a week of the Stone Age gamer goodness? They recorded a bonus episode! There was some long overdue listener mail to catch up on, way too long spent talking about Geekade's new Patreon revamp, a dive into what they've been playing, and a special piece of attention put towards a radish who is named Dadish. Don't miss all the goodness in the Stone Age Gamer podcast, episode 426. Really cool boat stuff.
Wow, there it is. For all this and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on geekade.com. Hi everyone, Chris here. Podcast listening is free, but podcast creation is not. That's why the Geekade Patreon exists. In an effort to help us pay the bills, we've got a Patreon page set up where you can gain access to our monthly podcast topic schedule, get early access to many of our shows, and more. If you'd like to help support Geekade and keep these shows running week after week, head over to the Geekade Patreon page, linked in the show notes of this very podcast.
All right, we're back. Okay.
Barely.
Commercials, thanks for listening to them. So after going through that entire list of everything we've been watching, each one of us withheld one show that we just wanted to speak about specifically. I will start with mine, seeing as I made Karen start off the last one, unbeknownst to her. And I'm going to speak to it as a person that has been collecting comic books for a very long time and is a male. Okay. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. First 2 episodes have released. And I must say, this show is fucking phenomenal.
Oh, I'm so
Yes,
glad
it
to hear
is.
you say that.
I
Love it.
Okay. So
I was like, are me and Evan going to fight? Because I
No.
love this show.
so
I
there's-
wouldn't let him talk about it if he was going to say anything bad.
there is a thing that we may fight about, but I'll get to that in a second. We watched episode 2 as soon as it released, and I literally these words came out of my mouth.
He can't work good.
Are you ready? I think I'm enjoying this show more than I liked Moon Knight.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Now, reason being is
Because
this.
Tatiana's been...
I don't have as much of a history with this. Okay. I love Tatiana. She is a fantastic goddamn actress. There is a point in time where both Angela and I looked at each other and went, is she actually painted green? Like, because there were scenes where that special effect was so good that I thought it was body paint. And it's fun. It's
really fun. It's a
fun.
half hour. It's light. It's fluffy. It's joy. It's fantastic.
And a show or a movie will get me if the main character looks me in the face and starts talking to me through the camera. I don't know why. I love it when they do the third wall breaking.
Yeah, I'm
Or
going to
the
be
fourth
honest.
wall breaking.
That was like the one thing I didn't like about the show.
I
At first,
love
I
that
was
shit.
not thrilled about it, but it's fine.
Apparently that's like something that she does in the comics all the time.
Which
Yeah, not only is it apparently a comic thing, but also I'm told that it's going to have some major bearing on the plot.
which is great.
Ooh.
Fantastic. I am so happy that this show exists. They're doing a fantastic job with it. I don't know how I feel about the end credit scenes because now they're making me sit through the credits to watch on a TV show. But they're a lot of fun. A lot of questions have been answered. It's like I can't speak enough good things about this show. Now, the one thing we may fight about is I hear everybody saying that there is a lot of negativity bombing this show. Okay? But that's what I'm hearing. I'm not hearing negativity. I'm hearing that the negativity is being said. By whom, I don't know. Because everybody that I'm associated with on the social medias is loving this show.
Yeah, you don't spend much time on Twitter.
Okay, like That's
And
very
that's good.
true.
And
That is
yeah.
good for you.
Yeah,
Do
don't-
not.
yeah.
Don't search for the
It's a-
comment sections. Don't.
Don't.
I
read the
already know that
comments.
Twitter is the dumpster fire of the internet. Come at me.
And that's,
Come on. Facebook is the dumpster fire of the internet, but
and like,
Twitter is the people eating popcorn in a lawn chair watching the dumpster fire.
Fair.
with a couple of trash can fires in front of them. Like
Correct.
it's
I'm happy that I'm not seeing like maybe one, maybe two stupid people saying something, and like it's like overtly dumb, like, oh, I can't believe they made Hulk a woman. Like, that's really dumb. That's someone who shouldn't be allowed to have a television dumb. But other than that, I'm pleasantly surprised by how many people that are in my internet social circle that are enjoying this show.
okay. Check this out. Inverse.com. I just went to Facebook, scrolled down a little bit. Here's the first thing I see related to She-Hulk, and it's the headline: World War Hulk reveals a disappointing MCU update potential thing. The first comment. Let me guess. She-Hulk shoves him aside and says, I can do it better, then proceeds to become the World War She-Hulk protagonist while complaining about how much she hates men the entire time. Takes over the alien planet, slaves all the men, and then complains more about how she has it worse than the enslaved men. And that is all the comments.
Chris, why you gotta be
I
like
don't
this?
get it.
I didn't want you to I'm glad you're not seeing it, but it's absolutely real.
Okay. All right.
The vast majority of comments on this are just the whitest, saddest men, so very, very mad that She-Hulk exists and is different.
You know what?
than
You know what?
Hulk.
I'm gonna call it. This is because they don't want to admit that they have a thing for green women, and it's okay because
I don't know. I saw that somewhere. Like, I think it was Jeff, our friend Jeff.
Yes.
He's like, I like this person. I like that. Wait a minute. Do I have a thing for green women?
yes,
And-
he has been an advocate for green women everywhere, and I appreciate him
It was
much.
Gamora.
Yes.
That was it. That was the thing.
To the point where I gave his 5-year-old a piece of She-Hulk art just to make him jealous, and also because I love his 5-year-old. But that's the extent to which I'm going to claim. I think that this is just people who don't want to admit it. So I'm going to go to those stupid people and be like, hey, it's okay that you're stupid, and you can like green women too.
All right. Yeah. That's enough. I don't want to talk about the bad stuff anymore.
Yeah, let's continue to focus on the good, because there's a lot of it. It's wonderful.
I really appreciate the way they wrote in how she's better than Bruce at controlling her powers, because women
managing
are
anger,
better
yeah.
at controlling their feelings.
Yes. I mean,
I'm not seeking anything groundbreaking. All the reviews are saying the same thing. Like, this is great. This makes sense. I love this. But, I'm just adding my voice to that chorus.
I'll jump in on that. I did too. I very much appreciated the way that they handled that.
Yeah, I liked that line, and I also liked the fact that she's just different than Bruce, and like,
Yeah, they're not the same.
I think a lot of people
Hulk.
were reading in so much about how, like, oh, she's just they just made her OP and better than him. Like, no, she's different than him. Like, her transformation is completely different from his. There's no rule that says he's the only one that this has ever happened to, and now she's getting blood that's been worked on and mutated however long he's been Hulk.
It's a watered down gamma bomb because it's gone through him. Like, that's
She has, like, he's never been able to just, like, go in and out. Like, she's herself the whole time. It's a totally different situation. It's apples and oranges the way these two characters have their power sets. So, like, they're not like, oh, Hulk is weak and she's stronger because she's a woman. It's like, no, this is a different character. Like, get your head out of your ass and, like, pay attention to what the show's actually saying, because it's freaking cool. Like, Bruce was frustrated because he went to go teach her all these things, and, like, it's not that she's just better than him. It's that the rules that he came up with don't apply to her. It's a totally different situation.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of the fact that they are making it so with Tim Roth, the Abomination. Like, I don't want to like him. and the namaste kind of character that they're portraying. I was like, I feel like at some point in time I'm going to be okay with him, and I don't want to. He's the abomination. And with that storyline, her talking to Bruce about it and him literally saying that he was a different person. Literally,
That's great.
Oh, chef's kiss, perfect.
Wonderful line. Yeah.
There's a lot of goodness in this show, and that's what I like. I like this a lot. I don't. There's nothing that I mean, Jamil. Is that like? I don't. I mean, it was a little over the top, but I like her. I don't think that was a good performance for Titania. I think it's how it's pronounced.
Oh, I don't think we've seen the end of her.
But I don't know. Like, hopefully we'll see more.
We've got like a couple of seconds of her busting through a court wall. No, we're totally going to see more of her.
Okay.
And I don't trust Blonsky. I don't know what's going on with this situation with him. Now, granted, I'm doing a rewatch right now, and I've just recently rewatched Hulk not that long ago, and like, he's not entirely wrong. Like, he's leaving out some of it, but he's not entirely wrong. Like, he was pumped full of all kinds of stuff. Now, he was voluntarily pumped full of more of it, which is what actually turned him into Abomination. But would Emil Blonsky have made that decision to do that had he not already been on what he was on?
Right.
I find it quite interesting.
I appreciate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I appreciate that show placed like She-Hulk in the MCU, in the greater MCU timeline, with this like footage of him and Wong being in the Fight Club being leaked. Like, oh, okay, well, we know when that happens, so now we know when this happens, and okay, this all makes sense. Thank you, because like that literally that little throwaway bit with Wong and Abomination was sort of like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's it. Just,
wait, what?
That was just a pinpoint on the timeline map, so you can go, here, this is why this is
one of those
happening.
like unanswered questions.
Because I cannot wait to find out what the hell is going on with Wong and Abomination. Because after that scene in Shang-Chi, we're like, they were talking like friends afterwards. It's like, see, I told you not to do it that way or whatever. Like, what the hell is going on? What is Wong up to? I have to know.
Did they sorry, go ahead.
Okay, that was it.
Oh, did they have any context for, or like, does anyone know where Bruce went, basically? Like,
well, so the spaceship that came down, which was a
Sakaar spaceship.
A Sakaar ship?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sakaar ship. He's on his way back to Sakaar. Actually, I was just looking at a news story that that was confirmed that's where he's going. He's off to go deal with something that happened on Sakaar while he was there for a couple of years. So
we watched the Nerdist videos after each episode, and they explain that Hulk had in the comics in World War, Hulk had a kid on Sakaar, or a couple of kids, and so that maybe that's where that's going.
Oh, World War Hulk is such a sad story.
Yes, but it's not. It's a different story.
Okay.
Like, his kid coming back is after that, and they are so trying to say we're going to do World War Hulk, but it can't happen the way that it happened in the comics because of the Illuminati, and all that stuff have to be in the 616, have to be in Marvel Prime, and that's not the case right now because I think half of them are dead. So.
Oh wait, I'm thinking.
Right? Who in the Illuminati even exists in 616, whatever?
In this Iron Man, but he's dead.
Yeah, Iron Man, Dunzo.
They're bringing over the X-Men, Professor X. They're bringing over the Fantastic Four.
They're not bringing them over.
I thought they were going to become part of the MCU with movies.
Well, yes, but they're not. I'm sorry. When you say bring them over, I thought you meant they're, bringing the existing. Oh no!
What I'm saying is, like, when they show that
they're bringing them
they're
creating their new origins or whatever within the MCU. So.
Right. So, like, I feel that they're trying to say, "Hey, look at this. We're teasing this," and I mean, Black Bolt is who the fucking knows what happened. Is that show canonical? I don't know. Like,
yeah, no idea what's going on with that, and the whole thing with we really don't know how far out mutants in earnest are in the MCU. With in the second episode of She-Hulk, there was a little Easter egg in the newspaper. It was a man fights in a bar with metal claws.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on like an internet thing. I didn't see it in the show.
Yeah, because it was like blink and you miss it.
Yeah,
it was there. So I don't know. I think mutants are farther off.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's gonna happen later. I wouldn't be surprised if they did like a weird reverse House of M thing to bring mutants, in proper or whatever. But I don't want to say anymore. But
so all right, I'm gonna wrap up my She-Hulk talk with the fact that the thing that warmed my heart the most was seeing her father being played by Cousin Larry. And unfortunately, I think I was the only one who knew who that was in this house, and then I had to do a deeper explanation. Mm-hmm. But the warmth between him and his daughter in that little, like, I'm glad that happened.
Oh, me too. And the whole post-credits scene of her just doing chores, because that's so what would happen.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, can you just lift some shit for me? Like, this would make my life so much easier. And
so,
a friend of mine on Twitter said, like, when did Mark Lynn Baker get so old? And then asterisk looks in the mirror. Oh,
oh shit. So
damn it. I mean, and as our resident Captain America fan, I think I have to comment on the episode 1 post-credit scene.
Yes.
I laughed so goddamn hard.
We both did. Absolutely, 100% love it. I didn't need this show to tell me that Captain America's not a virgin. I mean, he's whatever, over 100 years old. He's not dead.
I did.
And I'm glad it came out
yes,
that way.
he was in love with Peggy Carter, but also when he came out of the ice and she was already like an old lady, and he didn't know the way Endgame was going to work out. It's not like he's going to save himself forever for her.
But
obviously,
that's not how
he
it
kissed
happened.
Sharon Carter.
That's not how it happened. I think he said like 1948.
Yeah, I know. But
So-
also, he did at that point, he didn't know he was going to see her again
The only thing
when
that
he was
would have
on the
made
USO
that
tour.
better is if it happened when he was skinny Captain America.
That would have been funny too.
That would have been
That would
awesome.
have been funny too. I have my own personal headcanon about Captain America and who he may or may not have slept with, but this little canon whatever entry didn't ruin my headcanon, so I'm good with it.
Good enough. That's what I like to hear.
And just the delivery.
I mean,
the
oh my
delivery.
god, the way that it was cut was just chef's kiss, beautiful.
Magnificent.
All right, that's it. Let's scooch on. Who's next? Chime in. Let's everybody jump in all at once. Chris, go.
Yeah, I'm like,
Sorry, I
you're
was
in
yawning.
charge, man.
We
Make it
skipped the
happen.
Dragon Ball Super 60 Seconds.
Oh shit! I totally forgot we're doing that. So here, Chris, start off.
Dragon
with
Ball Super 60-second son of a bitch.
You know what? We can just record it. You can flop it in there at the end, or you want to just do it mid episode? You want to just go for it?
No. We'll cut it in at the end, and I will cut it in right after the commercials with the music and everything. Pretty sure I
Sounds
still-
good.
pretty
I'm
sure I
excited.
still have that.
Yeah, it's a movie, but I don't care. It's an opportunity to bring back an old favorite since we're back from hiatus. The show that I want to talk about is Obi-Wan. We talked about it a bit on the show before because it was airing before we went on hiatus, but it concluded afterwards. And I guess I don't really have a ton to say about it, just in the interest of keeping this show relatively shorter than it has been. But it was pretty good. It had its share of ridiculous moments. It was so much better than Book of Boba Fett, which I also loved. All right,
Right? Yeah.
I'm not above saying that show was remarkably flawed, but I loved it. Yeah, all of it's still better than prequel movies. So Obi-Wan was it was really cool. It didn't contradict anything. I think it just made everything else around it better. I was terrified of having Hayden Christensen back, and he did not stink up the joint. so
That we know of.
that we know of. I mean, like, there was people being, and God bless him. There's like, his performance was magnificent. He was so good. I'm like, all right.
In comparison, is that what we're saying?
there?
Yeah, I guess. He did that fight scene with Obi-Wan. It was cool, I guess. Like, I would have been happier with if they just put the cartoon voice actor in that outfit. That'd be fine, because I still just don't like his performance. But I respect the crap out of the fact that he like went through and watched all like the Clone Wars shows to kind of get a better grasp on the character that
On his character
evolved after after he did the role. But I thought it was
forgot
great.
about that whole final fight scene, but that was really cool.
Shit.
Oh man, yeah, that was good stuff. There was a lot of really good stuff in here. I did think it was a little far-fetchy that Reva or however you say her name went to like she just pieced together like, I'm gonna go to Tatooine and kill that baby because Darth Vader's totally gonna care about that. That was a bit of a stretch because like dude doesn't even know he's there, and like what are you gonna do? Say he killed his kid, and he's gonna be like, what kid?
Who now? What now?
The hell are you talking about? Like, what are you going to prove it to him? Like, he's not going to sense him through the Force. He's a freaking dead 10-year-old or whatever. Like, your plan didn't make any sense. I get why the show did it, but it was kind of a weird thing. But it didn't matter. It was just wonderful. I'm loving all this new Star Wars stuff. Even the stuff that's tragically flawed, it's still so much more watchable than the prequel trilogy that I'm just happy as a goddamn clam. And Andor looks so freaking cool and interesting and different. I was, so afraid that Obi-Wan was just going to be more Tatooine, and just, we talked about it, that the whole left turn of it being really about Obi-Wan and Leia's relationship, and then, like, that makes the things that happen between those two characters, which is almost nothing in A New Hope, just kind of have this twinge of feeling to them, like, when Luke walks into walks into rescue her, says, I'm here with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and she like darts up like, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Like, it meant one thing before, now it means another. And it's like, this is how you do prequel stuff right. You make the source material mean more. You enhance the source material, not make it so that you have to make 2 entire animated series just to make your shit not terrible. So Obi-Wan was a big fat hairy win to me. I thought it was wonderful. We didn't get to talk about the finale, and it ended well. It handled itself like a darn good TV show. I would like to see more. I got my Liam Neeson. He showed up, did his thing.
Did he?
Been there. Yeah. Liam Neeson shows up.
I'm looking on Plex. Apparently, I just about finished episode 5. I have not watched episode 6.
Oh, yeah, it's not like a big change of thing or anything. It's exactly what you would expect. Happens right at the very end. He's like, I've been here the whole time. He's like, yeah, of course you have. And then they walk off together. I'm like, all right, now let's see the adventures of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon's ghost. Give me that shit. Sign me the fuck up. I want more of this.
Pop the Star Wars directly into my veins.
That's right. Keep that train moving, because so far it's been great. I love having so much more Star Wars, and yeah.
So you heard it here, folks. Chris will spread them for Star Wars.
Chris, would you mind if I made comment about what we discussed and just tease it a little bit?
I don't even know if it's even possible, but by all means, mention it. All I can say is that I would love to do it. I don't know how to find the time to do it.
So that's the thing. We have to figure out how to find the time. But I spoke to Chris about possibly doing a show with just he and I, of him teaching me how to love Star Wars through the medium of comics, television, and movies. And I wish it was the communication was so get some requires so we can stretch it out, watch 2 episodes of Clone Wars, watch this, you give me homework, yes, capital letters, yes, okay, I love this idea, we just have to figure out how to do. That's the kind of thing. I want to love Star Wars as much as Chris does. I want to love anything as much as Chris loves Star Wars, honey.
Yeah, I had a feeling this was going to come down to our relationship, but I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I'll allow it.
So if the stars
Look, I love it.
align-
I would love to be able to find the time to do that because it sounds like a really fun. It sounds like a really fun
Possibility.
idea. It's just like right now I'm at 2 podcasts a week.
Yeah, no, it's
You know,
it's figuring
I
out
don't
the
know how
time.
to add
That's it.
another one, but I like the idea, and well, there.
Let's make that a goal.
Lots of people
Patrons.
got to sign up for the Patreon, and then we're independently wealthy, and then we could do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Take
what I was
take an
yeah,
afternoon fucking
that's
off.
where I was
Right.
going.
That'll sound like a
Right, listeners? You
Wink,
want all that
wink.
Star Wars shit?
Yeah, you
Nudge,
want to hear me?
nudge.
Yeah, do it.
All right. So anything else,
Tits out for Star Wars.
Chris?
What's that?
Are you good? We're moving on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm good.
All right. Angela.
Alrighty then. So I have been watching teenage melodrama in the form of witchery because why not? And it's from the show Motherland Fort Salem. It is 3 seasons. The 3rd season actually came out, as far as I know, this past summer, I think it was. And it's a complete show. It's like fully wrapped. So yeah, with that knowledge in hand, I was like, well, I think I can definitely get into this because Evan was kind enough to get it for me, and I like just kind of stared at it on Plex for a while, and I was like, this looks like something I would watch.
Literally was
The end.
acquiring it episode by episode for her.
Yep.
Like it just kept popping up on my nefarious means feed. I'm like, oh look, there's another click, and I just kept adding it. And then at one point in time, I don't know, I feel like it was like a week ago, I went, you know, I'm getting this for you, right? And she's like, what is it?
Yeah, I just kept looking at it because like the icon that we have is like a bunch of different hands like grabbing each other's forearms in such a way that it forms a pentagram, is the best way I can put it. Pentagram of arms. And it's great.
Pentagrams.
Pentagrams. So the show is about like these teenage girls, and the premise is if witches had been discovered in Salem, but they were actually witches, and one of them decided to act as like our witch and savior, and pledge all of her future lineage to the U.S. military. What does that look like in present day? And so you'll get these groups of girls who come in, and then they get put into like a unit, and it's like militarized training, but still involving witchcraft. It's like this really interesting thing, and it's all about vocalization and sound. So all of the witches' abilities come from being able to use their voices for the most part, like 98%. And so you're seeing like the ways that they approach it, and I just loved this take on magic. I really thought that the way that they've handled the visuals, the approach, the types of magic, how the magic affects them, like the way that they train with it, it's really interesting to me. And Evan walked by today, and he's like, wow, I didn't know they filmed this like a CW show.
Actually, I went in, I looked at it, I went, what are you watching? And she goes, that the Motherland. I went, oh, I didn't realize they filmed it that way. She's like, what way? I go, so CWE.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, it's definitely a CW-esque show. I don't know if it was on CW. I think it's, what was it, Freeform?
Yeah, it's on Freeform. The original network is Freeform, and it's basically like a CW show with like witches. But I think that it does a good job of not shying away from like just normalizing how when you're in a space where it's all women, or like I guess technically females, and then some people who are a little more gender fluid, it seems to be able to kind of handle that in a way that it just kind of makes it normal. And I'm really liking things that just normalize, like, hey, this is a human being who's just doing human being things. Like, I like that. And they have this really cool premise where this witch is, who was like the first witch in this line, her name is Alder, Sarah Alder. She's still alive because she has these women around her called biddies, and they're basically women who are like following her constantly, and they're all old women, and you find out it's because like there are girls who are literally raised that their purpose is to eventually give their youth to her, and that's how she stays alive. And
Damn.
like, yeah, but like it's like willing service to do this, and it's just this really crazy, like, you don't know if it's like, oh well, like they're treated like it's such an honor, and like there's this whole thing behind it, but at the same time you're looking at it and you're like, but people are like willingly agreeing to this, and I'm still not 100% sure why, other than the argument of like, this is just the way we do things. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff that happens in the show where there is silly relationship stuff that doesn't make sense. I think some of the writing is like, again, it just, there's a lot of this that kind of feels like a CW show. There's times where the writing doesn't feel like it makes sense. Like there's jumps where the characters would be kind of bitchy at each other, but then they're like, but we're sisters, and then they're kind of bitchy again, and I'm like, all right, make up your damn mind.
Well, sisters are kind of bitchy.
But I was gonna say, but they are teenage girls essentially, and like, yeah, I think that kind of tracks. It's just like, for me, some of the stuff where like the relationship was building, I was like, but is it though? Like, okay, all right, whatever, it's fine. Overall, though, I just, there's so many different things about the show that capture my imagination, and I'm enjoying. And I do think that there are scenes that are well acted enough that they're at least getting a response out of me emotionally, but that doesn't necessarily mean much, because like, I'm that person who cries during commercials. Like, I don't know, and I'm such a crybaby. So yeah, that's it. I like it.
What I did just read, because you're saying that it is a finished show, and technically it just finished
on August 23rd.
The good thing is that it was canceled by Freeform well enough in advance that they knew it was coming. Like they said, they were only going to get 3 seasons, so apparently they were able to wrap up their story. So it's not going to end in some ridiculousness, and there is always, of course, the possibility that it'll go somewhere else, but it's not a high likelihood. But
and the cast is really interesting. So the woman who plays General Alder is this Belgian actress who's just like, oh my god, she's like a 43-year-old bombshell. She's just so strong, and I love the way that she like carries herself in the show. She's really compelling, and there's another character, Anacostia. She is one of the, I guess she'd be like a drill sergeant. I don't know. She's one of the people who like trains the new recruits, and she's played by Demetria McKinney. And I like the amount of range. Like, first of all, she's that person who comes across as that like really strict, like shitty teacher where you're like, oh my god, they're always on my ass, and then by the end of the school year you're like, you're my favorite and I love you. Like that's who she is. And she's really good at like, I just feel like she can say a lot without saying anything. She just has like these facial expressions where you're like, ooh, yeah, okay.
I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
And she's really good with the facial expressions. But then like, I'm on season 2 now, and I'm getting to see her in a different light, in a different role on the show. And I'm really enjoying her character. Like, I just fangirl every time she's on the screen. So, I just love the way that the magic exists in this world. I'm really really fascinated by it. To me, it's like far more interesting than Discovery of Witches, and I kind of wish that like this kind of magic existed in that show. But then it'd probably be ruined because nobody would blink. But anyway, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, very good. Karen,
Hi.
you're up.
I don't like this because now I'm like under pressure to wrap it up, and I just could talk forever about my show. So I decided to watch the Amazon adaptation. I don't know. It's not whatever. It's the League of Their Own, the TV show.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I mentioned it to people in a different group, and they were like, "Wait, you watching the movie?" And I'm like, "No, it's a show." And they're like, "Didn't know it existed."
Mm-hmm.
So if you're watching it for like Gina Davis's character and Lori Petty's character and Tom Hanks's character, they're not in it, so you're out of luck.
If you're watching it for the movie,
Don't watch
the
it.
movie.
Yeah.
Watch the movie. So it is like the same basic universe. It's the same, teams from the movie, and the same sort of premise that, it's wartime and girls play baseball and there's a candy guy who's in charge of the whole thing. And like all the rules still apply. They have chaperones, they're not supposed to see men, and they're supposed to be proper ladies and look like, conventional beauty standards and all that stuff. Everything else is different. All the characters are different. The main character is still the catcher, so I guess there's another parallel. And everyone's gay.
Like, that's what I said. I literally, Evan and I told him that I had like watched a preview and read some stuff about it because I was actually kind of curious about it and wanted to add it to my list. And that's what I saw was like, it was just like, yeah, this show is gonna just don't have any expectations of it being anything like the original.
Nope. Yeah, everyone is gay. When Chris asked me what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go watch the gay lady baseball show. Which is a really interesting and probably more historically accurate take on the whole situation. They really get into explaining a lot of like the type of woman who would go out to, try out for a women's baseball league would be the kind of woman who is also, for lack of a better word for that time, an outcast because of the way that they are, anyone who was like a cishet woman who was, either married or trying to get married to a man would just be like, oh, I don't think I can play baseball. So it makes sense that there would be like a high percentage of gay women in this baseball league. And yeah, they also deal with racism a lot. Like, it's sort of like waved at in the movie with that one black lady in the audience of the like present day where they have the reunion. There's a one black lady in the audience, and she catches a ball and she like throws it back and it goes way further than anyone expected, and oh my goodness, black ladies can throw baseballs too. There are actually black characters in this, and they get into like the racism, like of course there weren't any black people at least in the first season of this baseball league, because like the racism was real strong. And even they even deal with like some of the more white passing races that are in the baseball league. There are some Latina women who look white, and they even refer to one of them as the Spanish striker, even though she's not from Spain, but they're like, Spain is more acceptable than like Latin America. Yeah, they're not pulling any punches with that stuff. There's a trans character that they just introduced, and there's a lot more exploration of like, the movie I feel like was like, we're gonna join this baseball league and find our own independence and our own purpose outside of the men in our lives. And this is more like, we're gonna join this baseball league and we're gonna find our identities and ourselves and our, personhood, independent of any other like people in our lives, families or husbands or whatever.
Right.
It's really good. I've gotten 6 of the 8 episodes in. I really wanted to finish it today, but life's not really like that. Yeah. I like, it follows a similar sort of plot of the movie where like the Peaches are the underdogs and they can't get their shit together, and then they do get their shit together, and then they come, they're on a win streak, and will they make it into the playoffs? And the odds are against them, but they didn't. And there's this there's this bit where the catcher is the main character. Their coach is Nick Offerman from Parks and Rec, and he disappears halfway through the season because he got hired to like do a real sports coach job. And they have so little faith in this job, in this league, that they're like, we're not gonna get you another coach. You figure it out. So they make the catcher lady the coach, and she's dating one of the girls on the team, or she's involved with one of the girls on the team, and they're trying to be very careful because there's like a real historically accurate danger of like gay people being arrested and thrown in jail and beaten in this time. So like they're like, we cannot get caught, like, you know, we can't be obvious, we can't be in public, we can't, you know, no one can know. And the catcher lady is like, I know, but like I want it to be as real as it can be. And she finds this like underground gay bar, and she's like, I want to take you there on a date. And so they say, okay, well, if we get into the playoffs, then we can go there. And I'm like, don't go there, that's when the gay bar is gonna get busted, because I've seen TV before. And then that's what happened, and that's where we are. And it's like, but it was so affecting. Like, it wasn't like played for drama, like, oh, it's a TV show and like one of the players is missing or arrested, and what is the team gonna do? It was really like visceral, like, holy shit, these people got beaten up. The ones that got away just barely got away and just barely escaped like a really horrible fate. And it was not just for plot purposes, it was for like really like wrenched your guts.
Gotcha.
And Rosie O'Donnell does make a cameo in that last episode as the bar owner who is living as a man.
I was scrolling through the cover images on IMDb, and she is the cover image for episode 6.
That's
like,
the one.
Is that Rose? That's Rosie O'Donnell. Look
I
at
mean,
that.
the makeup and costuming and styling is so good that it did take me quite a bit. I was like, really? Because I mean, back in the day, I was a big old Rosie O'Donnell fan of like her in the movie and her stand-up. I was like, I love Rosie, and I would know her anywhere. But this was a very all the costuming is great, and all the period costumes and hairstyles and everything.
So, quick question: is this
Sure.
a drama with a smattering of comedy? Is this a comedy with a smattering of drama? Or is it that elusive thing that doesn't exist, which is equal amounts of both?
No, it is definitely a drama with, a fair amount of heart and a good dose of comedy.
Okay.
Is it more or less lighthearted than the movie? I assume
it is less lighthearted than the movie.
I love that movie.
But there's also a lot of like joy in it, especially when the team starts to be successful and the women start working together and like gelling as like not even as much as a team as much as a sisterhood, where they really like kind of allow each other to be their own people. Again, it goes back to the whole like finding their identities. Like the one pitcher is having trouble the whole time, and then finally the catcher coach lady is like, you keep trying to throw other people's pitches, like what's your pitch? And it finally clicks with her, and that's when she like goes on a streak and is unbeatable. Nice.
It's that underdog story that no matter what the sporting event is or who is involved, if those that are losing and you're constantly rooting for them start to do better and like there's hope and whatnot, like that's the drive of an underdog story, and it makes it so much more compelling. And that's
I love watchable. A good inspirational sports movie.
Right. Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
There is another like element to this, which is like in the movie, like the boys are at war, and that's just kind of like this nebulous concept. But in the show, one of the characters' husbands like various people's husbands are like soldiers in the war. One girl's husband gets his draft number called and he has to go. So like he's in the show in the beginning and then he disappears. And you see the effect on like on him, on the wife, on their marriage, on like the community. Like that is something that was not even addressed really in the movie, except for that one scene where the lady got the death notice.
Yeah, they went the other way, that the husband was not coming back. We never saw the husband, I don't think, but yeah, we found out that he was not coming.
I feel like because of that powerful scene in the movie that's in people's minds, when this dude gets drafted, we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like nobody is like,
yay!
Oh, he's gonna go to war and he'd be a hero and he'll be fine. Everyone was like, "Oh shit, he could die." Like, they start the two black women start working at a factory, like wartime jobs, and one of their coworkers comes over and she's like, "Oh my god, I heard about your husband and I heard how like they treat black guys way worse and they don't get as much training and they put them in more dangerous jobs and oh my god, you must be so worried." Like, oh, this is like way more detail than we got about what it's like to go to war.
That's the difference between that format, right? You know, the TV versus a TV show versus a movie.
And the movie was a comedy with a smattering of drama.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
different
concept altogether. So, well, there you go.
Yay. I 2 thumbs up. Fine holiday fun. With war and lots of gay people.
Yeah, gotcha. Holiday fun.
Thumbs up in the business end.
All right. I think if you're good, Karen, I think we are done for this.
Chris, are you alive?
Summer recap.
Yeah, I'm here.
Episode.
We promise that the episodes won't be this long going forward, but it's been a while.
Yeah,
this is a lot of catch up. We are attempting to streamline things going forward.
We will be,
even with an attempt to streamline this time.
So
hello,
your episode. So I'm pointing at my lovely wife, which is rude, but
he's pointing a lot though. He keeps doing it.
The homework is just going to be a repeat of the homework. So, Chris, do you have
homework 2.0?
The spiel? Do you still have the spiel? Do you memorize it? All right, Chris.
No, he threw it away.
I have everything.
My cat just licked my toes. Okay, sorry. What?
Well, anyway, that's our show. This week's episode is not filmed before a live studio audience, but it is fueled by feedback from listeners like you. You can get in touch with us in a multitude of ways. We have an official Geekade Discord where there's an entire This Week's Episode channel dedicated to all things TV talk. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram through the official Geekade channels or the more specific Twepcast accounts. And of course, the 4 of us can be found in various ways. I'm available on Twitter at GeekadeChris, and you can read my work at StoneAgeGamer.com and in the pages of Nintendo Force magazine. Karen, where can people find you?
Oh, they could find me at STM Stitches on all the socials and on Etsy.
Angie, where can people find you?
Just check out my website. You can get everything you need there. It's AngelaFernot.com. AngelaFernot, FERNOT.com.
And Evan, where can people find you?
You can head over to talesofcapefear.com. That's where I spend most of my time online.
Neat. If you need to know more about the shows we discussed tonight or what we'll be watching in the future, have a look at our show notes. And if you have any other questions at all, we can always be reached at mail@geekade.com. Just include the words "this week's episode" in the subject line so we know who you're trying to reach. This show is available anywhere fine podcasts are sold, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. And wherever you decide to listen, please comment, subscribe, and leave reviews, because any and all feedback is welcome and appreciated. And of course, please check out the Geekade Patreon, which we have just updated, and I will incorporate into my script into the future. As always, keep your eyes on Geekade.com for more fresh, original content. Back to you, Evan.
All right. Angie!
Yes?
What's your homework?
Angie. Okay, homework is the same thing it was last time. We are going to watch Season 1, Episode 1 of The 100. That's a lot of ones and 100. Yeah, I think it's just the pilot episode, but yeah, it's the very first episode of the show, so get it right, dummies.
There you go. All that love and attention. Season 1, episode 1 of The 100.
And if you like it, keep going. And if you don't, go a little further anyway, just so you have a little extra hate to share.
I'm curious to see how far I will make it, so I will probably watch more than 1 or 2 of them.
It is a very CW show, so you've been warned.
I love me some CW shows.
Yeah. Melodrama for days. Teenagers in space.
Teenagers in space. All right, that's it. Come back here in a month. We'll be back in a month, people. 1 month. You have a month for your homework. From all of us here at this week's episode, I'm Evan.
I'm Angie.
I'm Karen.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Good night.
And this concludes our broadcast day.